Hi guys, so today we're talking about starting over. So essentially just completely rebuilding your portfolio from scratch. Now, some of you might remember that I used to have a £25,000 investment portfolio. It took me years to build it and I was really proud of it. But again, if you watch my channel, you know this, but in the last few years, I have sold everything pretty much. I still have a small amount, but I've sold everything to buy some land and pay off a few things. So that was a huge financial reset for me. And now let's say I'm practically starting again from zero. So today I'll be talking to you about how to rebuild from scratch. So we're talking about the mindset that goes with it, because it's not an easy thing, the practical steps that go with it, and also I will be setting up my new investment plan with XTB that I've mentioned in previous videos. So if you've ever had to cash out your investments like me, whether it's for a house deposit or a big emergency, or you just had a change in priorities, sort of like me, then you'll probably know like how daunting it is to start again. So I wanted to just sort of go through and share some lessons that I've learned along the way and the best way to approach rebuilding from scratch, in my opinion. So the first thing to talk about, I guess, is mindset, because that's the most important thing. That's the thing you need to have control over before you take the practical steps. It's really easy to feel frustrated about losing progress, feeling like you're behind on things, and you know, that feeling like you're starting over when you should be further ahead. But here's the most important thing to remember. You're not actually starting from zero, are you? You're starting from a place where you have experience. You've learned what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and essentially that gives you a huge advantage over someone who is starting from completely zero. You know, a lot of people hesitate to get back into investing purely because they feel discouraged. But literally the worst thing you can do is let time pass without taking any sort of action, because the market doesn't wait for you. And again, you should know this if you've watched my channel, but if you're new, you know, compounding rewards those who stay in the game longer. So you are, you know, I've mentioned this so many times, you are better off investing early on small amounts than waiting until you are more ready or have more money to invest or something like that. So instead of focusing on where you could have been by now, focus on where you could be in 5 to 10 years if you start again now. So that's my main focus. Okay, if I hadn't sold that, my portfolio probably now would be like 35,000, 40,000, but it's more like 1,000, and that's fine. I can dwell on that and be like, oh, well, you know, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have done that. But if I start again now, I can get back in 5 to 10 years time, I can get to that 25K and beyond. So the key here when it comes to mindset is shifting your mindset from regrets to opportunity. Essentially think about it like you now have a second chance to refine your strategy, to avoid past mistakes, and just build a smarter portfolio. So let's now talk about the most important points to consider when you are considering rebuilding from scratch. Number one is start with what you have. Even if it's a small amount, just begin. Sort of like what I was saying just now. The sooner you get back in, the better. Even if it's just £20 a month that you're starting with, that is better than waiting till you have more cash and spending that £20 on a takeaway or something. Number two is automate your investments. Setting up an automated plan helps you to stay consistent with your investments and should remove the temptation, I know it doesn't always, but it should remove the temptation of trying to time the market, which you should never do. This is absolutely the most key point. Just stop waiting for the right time and get started and just dollar cost average in. Number three is focusing on long-term habits, not short-term results. You won't rebuild overnight. You need to remember that. but consistency wins every time. And also remember, compounding takes time. In the first couple years, definitely in the first months, but in the first couple years, you're not going to see as much compounding as you would like, as you maybe were used to previously, but it all takes time. And the fourth point is, don't dwell on the past. The fact that you're even thinking about investing again means that you are ahead of people who will never invest at all. So remember that too. It's better to have a small amount invested than have nothing invested. Okay, so let's get into the practical steps now. So the first thing when you're rebuilding a portfolio is to have a clear plan. What's your goal, essentially? And for me, I want to, again, I've mentioned this before, I want to rebuild my investments in a way that's automated, simple, and diversified. I just don't have the time I used to do as much research and as much playing with my portfolio or remembering to invest at any given point. So that's why I'm going to be using XTB's investment plans, which allow me to invest in ETFs with no commission fees. And again, broken record, but once I've set this up, I can have it fully automated with auto invest. So I don't need to be worrying about what to invest in every month, which will be key for me. Whilst part of me still wants to play with individual stocks sometimes, going forward from this moment on, the majority of my investments will be in XTB's investment plans. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to log into my brand new account on XTB and essentially set up my investment plan with you. Now, as I have mentioned many times before, I truly believe that ETFs are the best way to get started with investing. So even if you're not starting over, but you're starting your portfolio completely from scratch, ETFs are a very simple way to get into investing. So let's just quickly mention what I think you should keep in mind when you're choosing what ETFs to invest in, and that is diversification. That took me 3 tries to try and say that. Now, I personally want exposure to different regions and sectors. So I'm looking at global or all worlds ETFs, as well as specific sectors like healthcare, for example. Fees and low fees, if you will. Now, ETFs generally are already cost effective, but you should be checking the costs within each ETF before you invest. These are not generally set by the platform like XTB, but they are set by the ETF provider. So for example, iShares ETFs versus Vanguard ETFs may have different fees built in. And long-term growth. Since I plan to invest regularly, I'm going to be choosing ETFs that fit a buy and hold strategy. So sectors that I believe will last a very long time, or things like the S&P 500, where I truly believe that it is very unlikely that it will ever go to zero. So let's set up the investment plan. Okay, so I've logged in. I am waiting for my bank transfer to go through because it's the weekend. I'm filming this on a Sunday, so that's why it's still showing 0 GBP. But I have topped up £100, so let's see if I can just set up my investment plan whilst I'm waiting. So going into investment plans, okay, buy and invest for the future. Got it. Okay, so risk score. I would like it to be from 2 till 5, let's say. And then let's see what we have on the filter. GDP, I would like to focus on GDP ones because I'll be mostly investing in GDP. Ratings, yep, 3, 4, and 5. Let's go with 4 and 5 only. Sectors. Let's leave all of them in. Automatic reinvestments. I think I don't want that because I would like to see my dividends and then decide how to reinvest them. So I'm unticking that. And then Smart Filter. Smart Filter will automatically exclude from your search ETFs, which are very similar. Okay, let's do that. So let's apply and see what we have. So we have the VUSA S&P 500. So I definitely want that because I definitely said I wanted S&P 500. FTSE 100 I'm going to opt out of personally, because I really personally feel like the UK economy isn't going in a good direction currently. So I'm going to leave that. But again, that's a personal opinion. What else am I going to choose? NASDAQ. Yep, I would like NASDAQ. So tech companies, obviously tech is doing very well. European stocks, I would say World, definitely. So MSCI World, let's go with that one. Okay, but that's not too many. So let's go with no smart filter. Only funds with assets higher than 1 billion USD are shown in the search. If you're looking for a specific fund, use search. So I'm going to do that. I would like aging population, because that's something I used to invest in, and I do believe we are going into that kind of market. So let's type in aging. There you go. Okay, so we seem to have quite a few. Oh no, it's just the two here because the others are AGE. So we've got Aged UK. They both have 3 stars, 4 risk score. This one has a slightly better return. So let's go in here and just have a look. For example, it's a USD ETF. So you can see here it's on the London Stock Exchange, how many assets it has. There's no short selling. Minimum order size is $1 US. Does it have dividends? Nope, no dividends, because it's the aging population ETF. Risk and return you've got here as well that you can have a look at. ESG score, and then holdings, so the things that it invests in. So majority of it seems to be healthcare and financial services. So I'm not going to go through this for every ETF that I'm investing in, but I wanted you to have a look at how that looks, what you can see on the platform. So I am going to add this ETF as well. And then I would like to also add some sort of global ETF as well. So All World, yeah, there you go. FTSE All World, that's what I'm looking for. And they seem to have good ratings here. Go for this one, and All World high dividend yield as well, because I would like that too. Okay, so I've chosen my 6 ETFs. So now, currently I have 114% allocation. So let's change this. So I would like 25% to be in the S&P 500, 20% to be in the NASDAQ. The World, MSCI World, I think I would like 35%, and then 10% in the high dividend yield. Actually, make that 30% on this one because I've got the other All World, and make that one 10%. Okay, so you can see based on my allocations, it shows me actually how this particular plan that I've chosen has performed since 2020. So if I had this allocation, this exact allocation from 2020, I would have had so far a 78% return on it. So that's pretty cool that it shows me that. Okay, so that's how I'm going to leave it for now. So let's create my investment plan. I will do it later. Cool. Okay, so that's it. I'm hoping tomorrow on Monday the money will go through and then I can allocate it, and then it will automatically allocate all the money. I will obviously be sharing the progress and stuff going forward, but that's me set up with my first investment plan. So that's my plan, starting fresh with XTB's investment plans and just focusing on rebuilding step by step. If you are in a similar position to me, please let me know in the comments down below. What are your plans for your investments this year, for how you're going to rebuild? And maybe just to make me feel better about the position I'm in. And if you want to make your money work with XTB, I will leave a link in the description down below. You can actually also invest tax-free with their stocks and shares ISA, which I haven't mentioned before, and earn 4.75% interest on your uninvested funds, which is also pretty cool. That is obviously at the time of filming. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.